Hello, hello. Welcome to LifeGuides Connect. My name is Kira. I'm your host, and we've got Ben, our co-host, for our final financial well-being series session. This is our final live session, and then we do have a group exclusive session next week for those of you who have been following along on the journey and who have been here really working on your financial well-being throughout the past 3 months that we've been together. So, with all of that being said, we have some announcements, we have some reflections, and there's a lot going on. So, our goal for this session, our final time together for financial well being, except for the exclusive session next week, is we're here to celebrate your wins, of course. Celebration in any long journey that we're on is so important because I feel like sometimes we get stuck in the achievement of things. And as great as achieving things is, we also must remember that we're on a lifelong journey, right? And I don't foresee money going anywhere anytime soon. So this is a really important one. And with that, we are here to help create a stable foundation for you to continue your financial well-being journey. So, what that looks like is we've spent these past few months together really getting clear on where we're going, the work that we're putting in, and taking those action steps, maybe daily, maybe weekly, maybe monthly, to get ourselves in a better financial position. Now, after this, we don't have anything currently set up for additional financial well being outside of using a guide. So that's what LifeGuides is here for. Obviously, LifeGuides can help you through big, large life events, but a lot of our users use LifeGuides as a way to help them get to where they want to go with accountability and with focus. Now, here's our link for LifeGuides to register and book your first call with a guide. I'll show you at the end the sections that you can go through to specifically get a financial well-being guide and someone who can help you even more on your financial well-being journey. And during our group exclusive session next week, we do have a guide with us who's going to help us get very clear and begin to set the stage for our next 90 days moving forward on your own individual financial well-being journey. Now, we've had a lot of fun in the back end collecting all of the results and collecting the data that shows us how impactful the financial well-being series has been. What we have seen, we took a survey in October and we took a survey in November, and very shortly we're going to do a final survey today. It's been the same survey, same questions, and it's been about where you've been on the financial well-being scale. We'll do a little refresher of it in a little bit, but two of the main statistics that we found that were incredibly impactful and that gave us so much excitement for what we're putting together and the results that people are actually getting are these. The first thing that we saw, which is so huge, is that we saw a 47% decrease in financial stress. That is huge. Drop 111 in the chat if you are a part of that statistic, if you are one of the few people, and not few people, many people who have seen the decrease in financial stress during this time. And then following along on that perfectly is that our financial stability as a group doubled during our time together. So people not only had their stress reduced 50%, they had their stability increased twice as much, which is huge and so impactful. And that feeling alone is one of the greatest feelings. To be able to have stability within ourselves and to know that we can take the action that we need to get the results that we want is an absolute game changer. Yay! We have some people who have had amazing results. I love that. And so, with that, we are getting really clear on okay, the work that we're doing and the time that we spend together is really impactful. And we're not here doing these series just to have fun doing the series, even though that sounds cool and great and we love spending time with you. Our goal is to have impact and to give you guys the results and the tools needed to get those results so that you can have more meaning and more stability and more groundedness in the life that you live, right? So that's where the financial well-being series came in, and that's where our continued 2025 programming is looking like as well. So for those of you, drop 222 in the chat if you have been on our Motivational Monday series. Motivational Monday also started back in October, where we decided that, well, we looked at a couple of things. One of the big things, this I heard this statistic and it absolutely blew my mind. The highest rate of heart attacks, which heart attacks are one of our top three killers in America at the very least, the highest time that you will see the likelihood of someone having a heart attack is a Monday morning. And I feel like there's a lot of stress and there's a lot of dread on Mondays and starting the work week. And we decided, okay, well, we're going to make a motivational Monday. We're going to make Mondays better for people. We're going to give people light and insight and guidance and motivation so that their week can start off well and continue on that trajectory. Because usually, how you start something is how you finish something. So we are releasing Motivational Monday season 2, and we'll be announcing more of that in the upcoming weeks. We are dropping season 2, and it's going to be elevated. Everything that we're doing in 2025 is going to be elevated. And that is on its way soon. So stay tuned for that. We don't have many more details other than every Monday, other than I think like 4 or 5 Mondays in the year where we transition between seasons at 8:30 Pacific time, 11:30 Eastern time. You and I and a group of people will spend 15 to 20 minutes together talking about topics that matter. In November, we did a whole emotional intelligence series. December, we're doing a lot of like happiness and relationships. So we're putting together programming that matters, and you all are providing your engagement and your feedback during the sessions that is helping me get really clear on where we're going and what we're doing, which I love. And then we also have our next LifeGuides Connect series solidified. And that is our Being Human First series. So with the financial well-being series coming to an end, we've been looking at, okay, 2024 is coming to an end, 2025 is starting. So many people are going to be focused on achieving and getting results. And I know that most of us here are high achievers. We don't necessarily need help achieving more. We need help feeling satisfaction in the work that we're doing and the ways that we're showing up in our lives. So that's the intention with our Being Human First series. And the link that I just dropped in the chat is our registration link for that. That'll be another 3-part series. And again, we'll be doing worksheets and exclusive group sessions and everything along those lines to give you the greatest results during our time together. So those are all my announcements. Now we have our financial well-being poll results that I want to share with you. I feel like seeing where we've gone and our growth is really important. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share quickly the results from last 2 sessions, and then we're going to fill out the poll for this session and get clear on where we are and where we're looking to go moving forward. So these are our financial well-being poll results. In October, we had people in our financial chaos and people in financial avoidance. And if you look at November, both of those decreased. Financial awareness technically did decrease, but financial stability increased. So people moved from avoidance to awareness, and people in awareness moved from awareness to stability, which is amazing. We had more people even increase in their financial freedom. So these are the results that we've seen from the financial well-being series itself. And I'm going to share the financial well-being, the 7 stages of financial well-being chart. And Ben, if you'd like to go back through and talk about, just give us a little bit of what financial chaos looks like. And I think most of us are working towards like awareness, stability, and security. Freedom and fulfillment take some time. That's some generational work there. But if you could give us a little bit of an intro to these stages of financial well-being, and then we'll do the poll again and get a clear understanding of where everyone's at now.
Absolutely. Thank you. Happy to do this. So let's run through this as you've seen before. Now I'm seeing a lot of familiar names on today, which is awesome. I want to say a quick hello to a bunch of you. Patty, Lisa, Lenore, Justin, Chris, Jamie, and of course, Sheila. Let's see, Chris, Lindsay. Anyway, hello, hello. And as you keep coming in, we'll keep saying hello. And even all of you on the recording, virtual hello, right? Glad you're here taking care of your financial well-being. So going through this list, I want you to notice something. This may not be your first time seeing the list. You don't see any numbers on here. It doesn't say in order to be financially stable, you have to have X number of dollars in your bank account, or you have to earn this much, or you have to have this much in your retirement, whatever. Isn't that interesting? Because financial well-being is different for everybody and it is not wholly defined based on a number, but it has a lot to do with your relationship towards finances, your relationship towards the feeling of freedom in spending, or the feeling of freedom in having the tools and resources, which is what money is, to do things, to spend time with your family, to go on vacation, to do what you want, to upgrade your house, upgrade your car, right? Whatever it is. So these do have some examples like no savings or having a healthy savings or having a retirement. Those things are important for sure. But the emotional well-being that comes with finances is crucial. Because know this, for example, right before here, as I was driving, I was listening to a YouTube speech by Elon Musk. I don't know what your feelings are towards him, but hey, he's the guy with Tesla and SpaceX and X and all sorts of things. And he's what, the richest man in the world right now? Multiple billions and billions of dollars. And you think, oh, wouldn't that be great? He must be in financial fulfillment. He must be way up there because he has all the money. But literally, I was listening to him, and now, this is an interview, I get it. So he has times of happiness in his life, but just realize that this comes with sometimes somebody who even has tons and tons of money. He's like, yeah, it might sound cool to be me, but I don't think you want to. I mean, he's had some issues with relationships. He got 180 million with an M, $1 million from his sale of PayPal. And you might think, wow, wouldn't that be nice? Just imagine the life that you would have with $180 million. But part of his journey was that he spent half of that, $90 million, into Tesla and SpaceX and the solar company. And then he ended up having to put the entire amount in and almost lost it all because things weren't working. So you might think, $180 million, how can the man ever be sad? How can the man ever have problems? So numbers are different for everybody, but our well-being is ours. Okay. You don't need to compare it to anybody else. Somebody who's making $250,000 a year, but works 75 hours a week and has no time to enjoy life, compared to somebody who, I don't know, makes $50,000 a year, but has work-life balance. What do you want? It's just a thought, right? Think through what comes with financial well-being. So now going through this real quick, noticing that it starts with emotions because that's where it is. How do we feel about our finances and our financial well-being? Financial chaos, you experience fear, guilt, and shame. I just don't want to deal with it. It's too crazy. Financial avoidance is like, okay, but I don't really want to talk about it. There's some insecurity and frustration. And then financial awareness. Hey, I'm willing to learn. I'm curious. Financial stability starts to think, hey, I'm starting to get this. This is good. Financial security says, hey, I'm confident. I have an element of confidence and control and openness. And I might even start telling people that, hey, people start to come to me, oh, you look like you have it handled. Yeah, I do in some ways. Financial freedom is where you have that sense of achievement. Yes, this is working. Now I'm starting to focus on what's next, life purpose. And do I have enough? And then financial fulfillment is when you start to give because you do have enough. And here's what's cool. And you can read the, books like Give, The Go Giver, and Abundance Mindset and all sorts of things. But you can start in these elements of 5, 6, and 7, even if you are in 4 down below. You don't have to wait to 6 and 7 to give. You don't have to wait till 5 to feel confident. So cool stuff. But there's the reminder, and then Kira will pull up the poll and we'll see where everybody is.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for that. The share about Elon Musk too, because that's actually a part of why we're doing the Being Human First series is like, when is it enough? The work that you're doing, and when do you feel fulfilled in it, and when do you gain that satisfaction? And that doesn't mean that you just stop working towards your things, but I feel like our journeys get a lot easier. I'm a high achiever, I'm an overachiever, I'm a high performer. I've been in the global sale, like the top of global sales teams, blah blah blah, but it was never enough. And being able to now be in the space where I'm like, cool, I know my own value. I know my own internal satisfaction. I know what fuels me and lights me up. the work that I do is a lot more meaningful and it's a lot more fulfilling. And I don't feel depleted by the work that I do because instead of being on this endless hamster wheel, I'm able to look back and I'm able to celebrate and I'm able to do work that matters to me. And that's a part of why this celebration financial well being call is so important too, because if we're doing all of this work, but we're never looking back and seeing how far we've come, we're always going to feel like we're on that hamster wheel. So I'm going to pull this poll up and we are going to find out where we all are on our financial well being scale. So you should be able to see it right on your screen. And again, it's where are you in regards to your financial well-being? Are you in chaos, avoidance, awareness, stability, security, freedom, or fulfillment? And you can fill this out right on your screen. It should have just popped up for you. Cool. I'm seeing the answers start to come through. Amazing. And this is where we start to get a gauge of where you are now. And at the end of this, we're also going to set you up for another 90-day journey. And we're going to get some of your feedback and some of your insight in regards to that journey and how you would like it to look and the ways that we can support you. However, this, even though we're at the end of this financial well being series, this really is just the beginning of your journey. Spending 3 months focusing on your well being and building those mindsets and those habits and finding the satisfaction in your own wins is so huge. So for us, even though this is the end of the series, right? We are at the place now where it's the beginning of your lifelong journey, hopefully, because I don't think there's going to be any time soon that money goes away. We don't live in a barter and trade system anymore. We live in a financial system. So, getting a handle on our finances changes our whole entire well being. So, we have four of you who haven't answered. If you would like to put your response in, you're more than welcome to. What I'm seeing right now, though, is really beautiful. We have 0% financial chaos, 0% financial avoidance. We've got 43% financial awareness, 29% financial stability, 14% security. Wow, hold on, the answers are even getting better. Um, Wow, we have moved up the scale significantly from the beginning. So we have 38% of us at the financial awareness, 25% of us at stability, 25% of us at security, and 11% of us at financial freedom. Those are huge and significant jumps. Look at Ben smile. You have no idea how much satisfaction we get from this. Ben and I are both coaches and entrepreneurs and do a lot of self development with so many people. So we already have that natural instinct to get satisfaction from other people's results. And seeing it here live in real time is so beautiful. So I'm going to give us another moment. There are a couple of people who haven't filled out the poll. You do not have to. However, it's always helpful for us. And I think it's helpful for you too to be able to see where was I and where am I now? So we'll give it just another moment. And I think there's some excitement in the chat. Yeah, look at you. I love this. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, last chance to submit your answer. Okay, ending the poll. So I'm sharing the results on the screen for you. You should be able to see that by the end of the poll, we have a third of us in financial awareness, a third of us in financial stability, almost a quarter of us in financial security, and then almost a tenth of us in financial freedom. That is huge. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Actually, I'm going to take a picture of these results so I can add it into our sheet. I'm done sharing that. We'll have more opportunities to drop into all of this moving forward. But that is pretty amazing. So, Ben, do you want to have a little bit of a conversation about sharing their wins and like the actual tangibles that they might have taken during this time?
Yes, sorry, I was trying to pull up a picture I could share. Maybe it's not going to work. But anyway, I was thinking of one of those gifts, we talked the analogy of football last time and how, everybody's going for those touchdowns so you can have more points than the other and you can win. But boy, is there a lot of celebrations with football, right? The first downs. You haven't scored a touchdown yet, but because you're celebrating the first downs and everybody's like, yes, let's do it again, even though I got sacked and that might have taken me out of the game. No, now I have the momentum and energy just to keep me going. So I was looking up a GIF of a guy, celebrating after his touchdown, but I don't know if I'll be able to share it. You guys can all look at it yourselves, right? But I want you to get in that position. If you remember what I talked about, we don't celebrate with our arms folded and down here. Hey, good job, bro. Right? Yeah, you might do that in high school. But now you get in a position where you really celebrate. I'm sitting up, I'm getting some energy out. And yep, Kira's good at that. So you get in whatever energy you do and imagine yourself watching a football game or your kid's sport or whatever lights you up. You get in that position and you're in a place to celebrate because we truly have reasons to celebrate. Kira just shared proof that we're improving as a whole. And all of you individually gave your results, so you know that you're improving or you're at least making momentum. Okay. And so we're going to spend the next few minutes in the chat sharing our wins and celebrating each other. We did this a little bit last time. The reason why we're doing it again and focusing on this in this session is because unfortunately, if you were to see a graph of all your thoughts, you would find out that over 80% of your thoughts are negative every day. What? No wonder we have so much depression and all sorts of things going on, right? Then if you were also anyway, there's another stat out there that says 90+% of your thoughts are the same every day. So then we think, well, how come nothing changes? There you go, right? So why we focus on this is because it's the opposite that is needed, that we focus on wins. You are doing great. And sometimes high achievers, especially, they go through the journey and they say, okay, I set my goal, I'm motivated, that's cool. Now I'm working super hard to achieve my goal. And our focus ends up landing on what is left or what hasn't happened yet. If my goal is to have $2,000 in an emergency fund and I've been doing really well, but I'm only at $1,500 right now, then I may focus and say, shoot, it is December 11th and I still need $500 and I don't know how it's going to happen. So there's no sense of celebration, even though for crying out loud, you now have $1,500 in your account. And we can't discount that, right? So it's why Kira and I spend this time celebrating those things that are working. We have to know and focus on what is working because that is momentum. These kinds of things always exist if you know how to look for them. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. So if you focus on what's working, guess what? Your energy is going to say, oh, I can keep doing this. But if you focus on what's lacking, that's called a void, and nobody wants to be there, and that's why we avoid. Interesting. Okay, so let's light this chat up, huh? So let's
Yeah,
share
what
some wins.
result?
Yeah, share some
Win.
wins. And I don't want you to judge. You're like, oh, it was only this. No, if it's $4, if it's 20 cents, put it in there. If you're feeling more confident about your financial well-being now, put it in there. You say, hey, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, because you gave me this space to think about it, I realized that it is the holiday season. Normally, I'm stressed out of my mind because I don't know how I'm going to pay for things, or I don't know how I'm going to get gifts for friends because, I just haven't handled my finances that way. If you're at a point where you're like, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I was able to buy things. I did have less stress. And now going into the holidays, I feel confident. Put that in there as a win because those are true things that can be happening. So let's start seeing this chat lighting up. What are the specifics and wins that you are experiencing? Whether it's things that we heard last time, it's people saving $1,200 because they just anyway, they looked at their finances and said, oh, I don't need to spend that anymore on subscriptions that started to creep in and stay there, right? And whether it's, hey, I've started my 401k, maybe I've restarted my direct deposit. These are things that we heard last time. So keep putting those in the chat and let's share these wins. And when somebody puts a win in the chat, everybody else go in there and give them a yeah, hoorah. If you can find a GIF or an emoji, share that because we can get this energy going of celebrating each other and celebrating ourselves. This is awesome. Okay, I'm going to start reading. And as people are thinking, please put them in the chat because we are here to celebrate you. and help you leave today's session feeling so motivated, knowing that you are achieving, that you're growing, and that you are on the right direction. Even, and I'll share this because, I'm all about reality too. There are wins and then there are challenges. Hey, and that's something we're going to talk about today as well as lessons. But I want you to know that, hey, if you had this goal and you made progress and then you just had a dip, you had an unexpected thing come along, an unexpected bill, an unexpected improvement, or something else happens, there's still room to celebrate. Why? Because what you've learned and what you've done has gotten you to this point so you could handle that differently. And we know that from somebody last time as well. Said, hey, this bill came up, but guess what? Because I've been saving, I'm in a much better place and I don't have to panic or go into an emergency credit card. So let me start reading this. Patty says, I set a better budget for holiday shopping. Boom. Yes. And how does that make you feel in this season, Patty? Share that in the chat. Setting a better budget for the holiday shopping. Tell me how that makes you feel. Because, again, I'm speaking reality. Some people just think it's such a budget. Are you kidding me? That just destroys the joy of the holidays. Are you kidding me? But what people like you, Patty, yes, less stress about overspending because you are thinking of, how do I want to feel after the holidays? Huh? And how do I want to feel during the holidays? Because sometimes our excitement to get and buy and everything else is so exciting that we forget logic and we're like, yeah, credit card, I'll be fine. But then it's January and it's like, well, I guess my New Year's resolution is to finally set a budget that I should have done 30 days ago. So this is why we do things like this. You think in the future, how do I want to feel? Then you can end the holiday season, for example, feeling confident and still happy because you budgeted for the things that you purchased. And then you feel much different. You don't feel guilt when you're opening gifts. You don't feel nervous as all get out when you give gifts, but you're thinking, hey, I budgeted for this. This is exactly in line with what I'm doing. And now I can focus on the joy of giving. Super cool. All right. Kira. Ooh, let's see here. I have $8,000 saved since the beginning of using my guide 5 months ago and have set plans to pay off a credit card this month. That is huge. Nice. Well done. Now, those are big numbers. Okay, and Kira says, I get more excited from seeing my financial wealth increase than I do from spending my wealth without purpose. Hey, there's a thought. I'm sure you have more to share on that.
I do.
Let's see. Chris, I made an appointment with my financial advisor that I've worked with in the past to discuss better strategies for an old guy emoji. Trying to be smart about financial choices. Good. So there's the example of reaching out, getting some individual and expert help. That's amazing. Great examples, everybody. And for those of you listening and on the recording, write them down. If you're not in a live situation to have somebody celebrate you, write it down and celebrate yourself. Yes, I did that. And that'll go a long way because, again, all of our emotions come from our thoughts. And if our thoughts are always negative, it's not working, I'm not there, how can I do this? And we live in that state, then we wonder why our life is that way. What we're teaching today and what Kira is going to go through in many live events next year is how to flip that. We have the desired life, but we don't clarify it and we don't focus on that enough in the proper way. And then what do we do in our daily habits that makes us enjoy the life we are having as we try to experience growth? So there you go. Back to you, Kira.
Yeah, we are so grateful to see the results and to see the actual tangible uh the actual tangible answers to the fact that our financial well-being is increasing. And we've been collecting the data over our time together. So I want to share a few other beautiful achievements that people have had during our time together. We had one person set up her direct deposit of $100 per check, and all she said was that she needed a push from LifeGuides, which is beautiful. We had one person save $1,200 since being engaged in LifeGuides, which was between October to November connect sessions. She cut back on delivery food, she cut back on her subscriptions, and she did learn a lesson to better focus on small gains rather than the obstacles, which is exactly what Ben is saying. And she also just stayed focused on her goal. So the places that she needed support was motivation and encouragement, and having support during the financial well-being series and having a guide helped her be able to have access to making these actual results for herself. We had someone put a down payment on a trip, someone starting to contribute as much as they can for their 401k, setting aside each month. And then there was a win too, because this person had been saving. She was prepared for an emergency that popped up that she wouldn't have been prepared for financially prior. And the list goes on and on. People are saying LifeGuides works for us, and are just having great results. So those are some of the tangible results that we've seen over our time together. And for me, I just love watching people win. I feel like so many people sometimes are just Scrooges all year round and forget that life is meant to be enjoyed. And I feel like the way that we enjoy our lives is in these moments where we are able to see how far we've come and where we've gone. So, one of the things that I just said in those testimonials was that someone focused on the small actions that they could take. Now, we've talked about this a few times during our financial well being series, and it's the 0.3% growth daily theory. So when we grow 0.3% daily instead of this desire to go from 0 to 100 real quick, we're actually setting ourselves up for sustainable change. When we set ourselves up for 0 to 100, all of a sudden instant change, there's no way to change your mindsets, there's no way to develop habits, and you're probably going to overwhelm yourself and get started really, really hot and heavy and then burn out and not even continue on your journey. So the 0.3% growth daily is so important for the fact that if you grow 0.3% every day, you will grow 109% within a year. 0.3% growth daily over 365 days is over 100%. So it's the reminder that these small steps that we take every single time and every single day matter. And the one thing I want to say is the 0.3% growth daily doesn't mean that you're only taking forward steps every day. Having a day where you neglected or you overspent or you impulse bought or whatever also matters towards that 0.3% growth daily, because chances are a few days later you're going to have a realization of, okay, that was a little bit unintentional and that does not match my goals, and I would love to do better moving forward. And it's our failures sometimes, and it's the moments that we get a little bit off track that make this journey even more powerful, because we're continuing to get ourselves back on track. And we're continuing to have that reminder of this is where I want to go. So it's okay to go on a little bit of a detour and to realize, like, oh, this path is actually not leading me to anywhere that I want to go. It's taking me to a bear's den with a bunch of bears in it. I don't want that. I want to be on my path to this like overflowing waterfall. This is how my brain works. And that's the 0.3% growth daily. So you can veer off and it's okay. Those moments of coming back sometimes are the most powerful moments. And sometimes we have these ingrained habits where we're circling around doing the same thing over and over with our finances. Some of us have had the same financial patterns for years, decades. Drop 333 in the chat if you had financial patterns that had been ingrained in you for a really long time that you started changing throughout this financial well-being series. So what happened was you were entrenched in that path, right? Like you dug that hole deep and you were just following that. So it takes a little bit of time to get out of that, and it takes some time to undo that cycle, and that's what we've been doing during this financial well-being series, is changing that cycle. Now, I hope that there have been some mindset shifts as well. And I would love to hear in the chat if there are any mindset shifts that you've noticed during your financial well-being journey. Whether it's as simple as you would normally order DoorDash coming home, but instead you decided to meal prep. Or maybe it's you're going shopping and you weren't planning on buying that really cute sweater and you see it and you almost want to buy it and you're like, wait, this actually isn't worth sacrificing my goals for. Or maybe it's just the mindset shift of, wow, I just am really proud of myself. And I love that I'm showing up to these calls and I love that I'm doing the work. And this affects every other area of our lives. I know that financial well being as a whole can just feel like just financial well-being, but money rules every part of our lives. And drop 444 in the chat if you have felt the stress of not having financial stability, and if you know how awful that feels. It impacts your whole entire lives. It impacts your relationships. When I was in financial avoidance, I was avoiding my friendships. I was avoiding work that I needed to do. There was a lot that I was avoiding because money is a foundational aspect of the world that we live in. And it's something that has so much shame around it that most people don't talk about. And as we start to build this well-being and our financial health, we tend to start to see the other parts of our lives that have evolved healthier as well. So, if there are even places where you've seen growth and development in other areas of your life, let us know in the chat and share that with us because that matters too. And as we continue on our journey, this is the end of our financial well-being series, but this is the beginning of a life full of financial well-being. The one thing that I hope for you is that you know that you're going to have amazing successes on this journey and that there are going to be failures that accompany that. You can never have success without failure. And what you have to do is trust in your ability to get back up every single time because they're all learning opportunities and they're all here for you to be able to start growing and evolving and shifting. And we've got a lot that's been said in the chat. Let's see here. Da, 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 da. Ooh, beautiful. So one of our guides is on this call, and they said, I have a member I'm working with who has increased their 401k contributions to meet their employees. And they increased their savings by 500. So not only were they putting more into their 401k, they were also saving $500 per month just by monitoring the little spending out of the expendable income after the bills are paid. How amazing. We have we have people who have cut back on eating out and are working on their cooking skills. I mean, hey, that's amazing in and of itself. And it makes them feel better about themselves, which gives them the energy to work out and more. Oh my gosh, beautiful. So we've had beautiful tangible results. As you know, we love a good little worksheet during our financial well-being series and all of these series. So Ben is going to walk us through our final financial well-being worksheet and we're going to write it down. We're going to get very clear on where we were, where we are now, and where we are going. So I'm going to drop that link here in the chat for you, and I'm also going to be sharing it on the screen as well, so you can follow along. This is a fillable PDF, so you can fill it out directly through the link itself and write on the form through your computer. So here's our financial well-being worksheet, and Ben, take it away.
Awesome. Let's do this. So these are fun questions because, we've been talking about reflecting, we've been talking about celebrating wins, and all of these things help us as we go towards our desired future. So questions like this are super important because, again, sometimes as we move so quickly through life, we may forget about all the wins that exist. But as you look back in the proper way, asking the right questions, then you can remember, oh yeah, last month, this is what happened and it was positive. I now realize that I wouldn't have been able to do that if I had not been attending these sessions, if I had not been using a guide, if I had not been just being intentional about my financial well-being. So everybody open that link. And if it's working for you, give me a 111 in the chat as Kira does, right? Give me a 111 in the chat if you can open that link and it's working for you. So we can make sure that's going all right. Then you have the opportunity to fill this in yourself and ask yourself, what was my relationship with money before this financial well-being series? Just go back and remember. And think, oh yeah, I remember it sucked. I didn't want to talk about it. I was the one in financial chaos. I hadn't looked at my savings account for years because I just didn't want to know, just describe what that looked like. And then describe your relationship now with money after this financial well-being series. Talk about the differences. And as you get them on paper, out of your mind in concrete sentences and maybe some examples, it's fun to see the difference. And you can know for yourself, like, oh, I am more confident with my financial well-being. It wasn't clear, but I am. Because, you know, it's funny as we make our changes, maybe it's hard for us to see it because it is the 0.3%. And even though 60 days ago, whatever that math is, let's say it's 10% different, we're just not used to looking back and comparing that way. So we're always comparing our 0.3% of today to yesterday, and it always seems like small changes. This is again why we reflect this way and ask different questions. So as you're thinking through, hey, there you go, Kira, doing the math. 18%, nice. And that's a big difference. If that happened in our physical well-being, we'd definitely be able to see it, wouldn't we? So that's why we need to make it visible in things like emotional and financial well-being. So as you're writing these down, I'll give you one more minute to do so. Just jot some ideas down. And of course, you can always write more on this after today's call. But jot down what your relationship with money was before the financial well-being series began and what your relationship with money is now.
And one thing I want to share on that, that connected such a huge dot, Ben. The fact that, yeah, 18% growth financially might not sound that great. But if we were almost 20% growth or like shift in our physical health, whether it's like body fat or cholesterol levels or blood pressure, that would be significant. And the one thing I want you to remember as well is remember all of the years. I can vividly and viscerally remember all of the years where I had 0% growth and maybe even sometimes negative growth, or I was putting myself in even deeper challenges with my financial well being. So, you can look back over your financial well being over your life and be like, wow, I really was stuck for 5 years. And now over 2 months, I've grown more than I did in years. And that in and of itself is a huge win.
Yeah. So I'll share two examples, but before I do, there's a physical one and there's an abundance one. So don't let me forget, Kira. But if you'd scroll down so we can see the celebrate your successes, everybody's going to fill this out while I'm sharing my two stories. Okay. So you've opened the form, fill it out for yourself, highlight the things you did right. Talking about mindset shifts, tangible action steps, whatever it is, just start making a list of what it is that you are doing right. Okay. Then I'm going to share my stories as you are writing. And when I'm done, I invite you to share some of these that you have done right in the chat because these are lessons. Sometimes we're like, hey, we celebrated the touchdown. That's awesome. We celebrated the first down. That's awesome. We celebrate our wins. And yes, that's fun. But then we're like, next week, well, how did I do that? And if you don't know, you blame it on luck. And then we start praying for luck. And then we think, oh, I have no control over my life. But there's always truth to say, well, what led to that touchdown, that first down, that 401k? Oh, it's because I spent 5 minutes of intentional time actually going to that website and clicking that button. We avoid that, don't we? But once you do it, it makes a big difference. Same thing with a budget. All of the people I've spoken to about their budgets, it's a big deal. I don't want to do it. I just don't have the time. But once they finally do it, I say, well, how long did it take you? Oh, 40 minutes max. You're like, can you really not find 40 minutes in your day or in your week? Truth is you can. We just have to see it differently. So I'll share two things. Number one, physical, as you are writing down your wins. Physical, I hurt my shoulder a few years ago and it's been annoying as all get out because I can't do the normal workouts that I like to do. But I have started different types of workouts and I can't do push-ups and pull-ups like I used to, which is super sad. But I have this app that gives me some cool workouts, and one says Pilates. I'm like, okay, I'll try Pilates. Might sound weird, but it knocks you out, man. It's cool. Anyway, it does a lot of core workouts and a lot of what I call connector muscles. And so there might be days where I'm like, I don't see a difference. I don't know what's happening. I don't feel super strong like I used to because it's not quite the weightlifting kind of stuff. But just the other day, I was holding my 9-month-old, and this might sound scary, but I was going down 2 sets of stairs, and they're wooden, and I had socks. I missed the stair and almost fell. I could have hurt myself. I could have hurt my baby, but I balanced, and we were okay. We didn't fall. And then I realized, wow, that didn't even hurt because I had all those connector muscles, and I had been strengthening my core. I remember what it felt like months ago. If that would have happened, I would have had some tweak in my back or something hurting for the next few days. That doesn't exist anymore because I've been making those small incremental improvements. Then the other story, again, while you're writing this down, and then we're going to share it in the chat, is one of the members that I help as a guide. She came to me first wanting help on abundance mindset. You know, she had her stories of, oh, where I live is too expensive and I don't have money for this and I'd like my life to be different and all the things that she wants, but she didn't know what to do about it. A long story short, she was making about $24 an hour part-time. And as we worked together, talking about abundance mindset and the things that we've talked about in this session, she ended up, you know, gaining courage to have crucial conversations with her boss. She ended up getting a different job at $30 an hour. Do the math. And it was a full-time position. So she not only doubled her hours, but she increased her wage. So she more than doubled her take-home pay. But here's the kicker of this story. A week or two after she got this $30 an hour situation, more than double what she was making, she still went back to those old stories. Oh, it still costs too much to live where I am. I don't have this. I want this and everything else. And you're thinking, what? Because from my perspective, I can see the growth. More than double where you used to be. And this is key to why we're doing what we're doing. If we don't celebrate successes and if we don't realize wins or what we've learned, then we might stay in our old story, even though there are visible changes. And so with her, I just reflected and I said, well, let's pause here. Let's remember what the past looked like. Let's remember what you have done to get you here. Let me emphasize to you how you speak differently. What you focus on is different. How you talk about yourself and life is different. She's like, you know what? You're right. And it was helpful to see that because that is a progress that exists, but sometimes we don't see it until somebody can reflect it to us. So back to the chat. Put in there some lesson that you've learned. What have you done or what has happened in the past 2 months that has led to your success? Why did you start that 401k? What was the kicker? Why are you now $8,000 ahead? Why did you save $1,200? What was it? Because if you can identify the lesson, you can repeat and get to the result you want. Okay? If we don't identify the pattern, we can't repeat the pattern. And the truth of the matter is, patterns always repeat. We just have to decide if they're ones we want or not. Okay, so yes, think about that and put something in the chat and on your paper. What is it that I did that led to this result? And sometimes it's as simple as I just gave time for this. Because I came to this Connect session or the group session, or I called with my guide, all of these are less than an hour. Because I had this intentional time, I took action where I knew I needed to, and it made the difference. Awesome. If that's your lesson that you want to repeat, then you now know for our future well-being plans, whatever your new goal is for the next 90 days, you're saying, hey, I know what worked. I'm going to repeat it because I know I'm going to get the results. And you don't have to be stressed saying, oh no, you know, this 3-part series is over. Now what am I going to do? How's the next year going to roll? I don't know. Well, you can plan for success. There you go, Patty. Way to be. Star right there. Also attending these sessions. That's what I'm talking about. Value right there. So to wrap up this form, and I want to be careful here. I want to address both sides. With high achievers, it's very easy for us to achieve, and then say, what else can I do? And then that doesn't allow the brain to say, well, wait a minute, did I do a good job? That's why we spent time celebrating, okay? I don't want to miss the opportunity of learning and celebrating and having that momentum and linking it to something again in the future, because otherwise our momentum fizzles out. See, that was great. Now what? But if we can say, hey, based on what I learned now, based on how I'm different now that I'm no longer in chaos, but I'm in, you know, stability or freedom, what else can I do? And because you have that new vision and new tools and new being, then you can say, great, I have a plan. And then, of course, you have your resources. Kira just put it, book a session with a guide and go. Have that conversation with the guide. Come to these sessions. Put yourself in that place where you are having that mindset, people with that mindset, with those similar desires, are talking about these things because when you put yourself in that environment, you can't help but improve in that way. Back to you, Kira.
Beautiful. So yeah, this is your future financial well-being. And this section ideally is the section that you're going to start to get clear on now and with a guide. So what Ben was sharing with his story of Ben is an actual guide with LifeGuides. So he actually has members who come to him for guidance. And we have a bunch of phenomenal guides, which I'll show you a few of them in a moment as we begin to close this out. Ben was able to zoom out in a place where his member was too close to the situation to see all of the tangible change. Because again, Ben said it himself, 90% of the thoughts that we have every day are the same as the day before, and they're going to be the same as tomorrow. So that mindset shift takes someone disrupting the pattern of thoughts in your mind and showing you a new way. Sometimes we're just way too close to even see how much we've grown. And that's why having a guide is amazing, because they don't have any invested interest in your success other than wanting to help you. Your money doesn't impact them. Your success doesn't impact them other than them being able to be like, okay, I've helped people. Most of our guys just want to help people. And they get to be enough removed from the situation that they can see your actual results and intimately involved enough to say, I know where you want to go and I know the work that you've done and this is how far you've come when you can't see it yourself. Cuz like imagine trying to see the entirety of a really big picture when it's this close to your face. Sometimes you need to step away. I can't see how big and beautiful the lake that I live on is when I'm right on the lake, but if I hike to the top of a mountain, I'm like, "Holy freaking cannoli. Western North Carolina's gorgeous." And you get to do the same thing with your financial well-being. We're coming to the end of our financial well-being series, everyone. I'm so excited. So, the next tangible step really is to book a session with a guide and start having someone support you. They can be 10, 15-minute calls, they can be 45-minute long calls, they can be weekly, they can be monthly. It is up to you, and it's a free service that your employer has paid for. And if you're looking to continue to get these results and continue to grow, Ben, can you share your accountability statistic one more time for us?
Of course. If you set these goals and you tell somebody, it's about 65% likely that you will achieve your goal. Pretty good. But if you have an accountability partner, somebody that you talk to on a regular basis and can hold you to it, your likelihood of success goes up to 93%.
Amazing, right? 93% likelihood of success. That's what we want for you. We want there to be a 93% chance that your financial situation is going to be better next month than it is this month, and next year than it is this year, and next decade than it is this decade. So I'm going to show you how to use our Life Guides platform, and I'm going to give you the link here to find a guide who's going to help you with your finances. We've got a million, not a million, that's such an exaggeration, but we've got 12 main categories and a bunch of subcategories that you could actually use a guide for. But for this, we're going to be using the financial well-being category. So you go to app.lifeguides.com and it brings you to this main screen. And what you're going to do is you're going to find a new guide. From selecting your topic, the only topic that we need you to select if you're focusing specifically on your financial well-being is our growth, purpose, and prosperity category. Once you select that, and if you want to do other things, go for it, but this is just for financial well-being right now. You're going to go to the next step. So we're looking for an accountability partner, and let's say that I'm looking for budgeting and saving. So I'm going to view guides, and if you accidentally select an additional topic like I did, if you go to selected topics here and just unselect the other topic, oh, accountability partner. Interesting. Well, those work. I'm going to get rid of that one. Cool. So from there, it shows you actual guides who can help you with your financial well-being. So if we go to Tia's profile, it tells you a little bit about her. You get to see her information, some of her story, but then you get to see here her actual experience. So when it comes to budgeting and saving, she helps you secure your tomorrow and make financial changes now for a brighter future. Say that you were like, okay, maybe I'm into Tia. I'm just gonna save her. I'm gonna go back to the results. I want to see what Lindsay G is up to as far as accountability partner and budgeting and saving. Same thing. You can go through. You can be like, ooh, cool. I actually really like her vibe. I want to work with her. Every person has a get to know them video too, so you can actually connect with them a little more. But if you save them, you can go to my guides and they'll show up right here. So if you're thinking that's how I do it. I like to think, I like to feel. And then from there, when you book a session, it's in your session profile here. And you have your sessions, the time, you can send them a text, and you get started right from this platform itself. So it's really simple, really easy. The one main actionable, tangible step that we are giving you as we're finishing our financial well-being series is booking your call with a guide, showing up, and having that accountability because Ben and I can't want your 93% chance of success more than you do. And maybe we do, but maybe you're going to have a guide that wants that just as much as you and helps you along your journey and can really see the tangible results with you. So we're coming to a close. And we have a final survey that we're going to put up on the screen for you all to fill out, really about where you were and where you are now, and just giving you a little bit more space for reflection and celebration. And then we're done. So let's get that pulled up here, and it should be launched on your screen. So it's about how valuable this series was. We're asking these questions because as we move forward, this was kind of a trial. We were just like, we want to do this, and we did it, and we weren't necessarily sure what was going to come of it. And for me, I don't know, Ben, for you, it's been a lot more impactful, and I've seen so many more results than I personally expected as someone who decided to host this. Is that the same for you, Ben, or how has it been for you as a co-host on this journey?
Oh, it's been amazing. It's been so fun sharing, learning, and seeing the results. It's always so fulfilling to be a part of that.
Absolutely. Again, we have our Motivational Monday season 2 starting next year. I don't have registration links for that currently because we're figuring out the dates, and there's a whole thing. We have worksheets that are going to be a part of it. It's going to be so good. If you guys have been on Motivational Monday already, just wait until next year. Okay. Now, Connect Q1, which is our Being Human First series. This is our link for that, teaching you how to feel satisfied in the work that you're doing and to actually be a human before you're just this productivity machine. And then beyond that, we also have our group exclusive session next Wednesday, same time. It's 30 minutes. We have Chris, our same guide who has been there for the past 2 sessions. He'll be there helping us get more of those tangible results that we're looking for. And exactly, invite your coworkers. If this was impactful for you, send these links to your coworkers. Let them know that there's a resource that they have that's going to increase the meaningfulness in their lives and the well-being in their lives, because that is everything that we are looking for, and that's what we're here for. Thank you all so much for just being here and for being on this journey. Financial conversations aren't easy, and I know the stress that it brings, and I know the reality of the shame that sometimes comes with our finances, and I know how easy it is to avoid it. So I want to congratulate you on just simply being here and simply choosing to show up on a journey that might be a little bit uncomfortable, but at least you're not doing it alone, and at least you're holding hands with someone who's supporting you and watching you grow and is here for you and with you. So, yeah. Thank you all for being here for Financial Wellbeings. Congratulations on all of your success. We hope to see you again and again and again in 2025. We may or may not have 72 events that you can come see at least my beautiful face on for the entire year of 2025. So if that doesn't excite you, I really don't know what will. I mean, what else would be the highlight of your 2025? Okay. Thank you all for being here. It has been a joy and a pleasure. We hope to see you next week on the exclusive session, and keep an eye out for your email because all of our announcements will be announced soon. You'll have the links, you'll have the times, you'll have the topics, and we're just going to grow and keep coming into our best version of ourselves every day. Okay, everyone. Thank you. Bye.